Happy Halloween, everyone. I hope you're safe. I hope you're comfortable, because today we're going to be reading They're Not Coming, They're Already Here by Hicks, also known as Mark DeMarco 420. They're not coming. They're already here. That's all the email said. No subject, no name, and the email account was clearly a junk or throwaway account linked to AOL. At first I laughed at the ridiculously serious message, not paying it much thought. I figured it was just spam mail, trying to get people to go to their website or something like that. But then I remembered there was no link, no URL or anything. Just those 6 ominous words. I remember thinking that if it was some sort of marketing gimmick, that whoever was running that department was doing a terrible job. But just as I finished that thought, I heard my phone ding. It was another email from the same person. Don't act any different or say anything. They will know. At this point, I began to feel a little creeped out. I still didn't know what the person was talking about, or even if they meant to send these cryptic messages to me. All I knew was that I was scared. I replied back, I think you have the wrong person. Please don't email me again, thinking that would resolve the issue. It didn't. About 5 minutes later, I received another email with my full name, date of birth, and my apartment number. At first, I thought that perhaps this was some friends playing a cruel prank on me, but even they wouldn't take a joke this far. I decided that enough was enough. I wasn't going to let some random person get under my skin like this, so I blocked the sender's email address. Surely that would put a stop to all this nonsense, I thought. But once again, I was wrong. I received another email from a different account. Same thing as before, no subject, no name, just another foreboding message. Whatever you do, don't look outside. As soon as I read that last word, I heard a loud pop outside my apartment just as the power went out. Thought that the sound may have just been a generator or something. But then a blinding blue light began pulsating outside. As curious as I was about the source of the light and noise, I couldn't stop thinking about that last email. Whatever you do, don't look outside. Could this really be that great of a coincidence, or did the person sending me these know something I didn't? Either way, I was too afraid to look outside. The pulsating light began to scan up and down my apartment building. I instinctively ducked under my window, afraid that whatever the light was might show my location. Then the light just disappeared. The power came back on, so I stood up slowly and drew back my curtain. Nothing looked abnormal. The parking lot was still as quiet as it is on most nights. I saw a man nonchalantly walking his dog as if nothing had just happened. I felt silly for getting so worked up and scared over nothing. This time all it said was, I told you not to look outside. Now they know. At this point, I knew that someone had to have been watching me. There was no other way to explain how they knew I disobeyed their previous message. Looked outside my window again and saw the same man with his dog. Except they weren't walking anymore. They were standing still and looking straight up at my apartment, both with their mouths agape. I quickly closed my curtains and grabbed for my phone. This was all too much for me. Without thinking, I dialed 911 and waited several minutes before an operator answered. 911, what's your emergency? I immediately began to try and explain every strange thing that had been going on for the past hour or so. From the emails, to the strange blue light, to the man with his dog, I suddenly realized that I sounded like a mad person with all my incoherent rambling. I began to slow down and apologize to the operator when a piercing, high-pitched sound took over the call. The sound was so loud and intense that I couldn't even leave the phone up to my ear. I ended the call right when another email popped up. There's no hope in resisting now. You're just another one we've lost. I grabbed a duffel bag and began stuffing it with as much clothes and other items that it could hold. There was no way I was going to stay holed up in this apartment for a second longer. I'd rather stay a few nights in a hotel, or even my car if I had to, until I had something more concrete figured out. I swung my front door open to find roughly 30 people, all standing around the man and his dog. They were all staring right at me, and they had their mouths agape. I heard that same piercing noise as before, when I realized it was actually emitting from their open mouths. I started to make a run for my car, and they all instantly threw their arms up, pointing at me while slowly walking my direction. There were too many of them, and my car was too far away. I ran back to my apartment and boarded up all the doors and windows. It's been 3 days now. I still haven't left my apartment, and every time I try to call someone, I get hit by the same high-pitched tone. I'm at a loss for what to do at this point. Giving up and submitting to him is the last thing I want to do, but it's starting to seem like the only option. I'm not sure how much longer I have before they break me, but there's still hope for you. Just whatever you do, don't look outside.